Hi, my name is Kara Holland and I am a ceramic artist. I do sculptures and pottery and I teach students how to make sculptures and pottery. Today we're going to be making an abstract portrait out of model magic. Our artist inspiration for today is Pablo Picasso, a very famous artist from Spain. Pablo Picasso was famous for doing abstract art. In his abstract portraits, you can see that there are eyes, nose, lips, ears, and other parts of a human face. You recognize them, but they don't look realistic like a photograph would. As an artist, he took what was real and he changed it to look a little bit different than reality. The materials that you're going to need today are a sketchbook and your writing utensil, your model magic clay, you should have 2, some markers, and these are optional, and you need some tools. Various wooden sticks, some plastic utensils, a straw. Those are your tools today. Optional also is a paper towel or some kind of newspaper, tissue paper. The first thing you want to draw is your face shape. You can use any shape that you would like, so think of a bunch of shapes and pick one that sounds cool for a face shape. It does not have to be a realistic face shape. For example, I'm going to use a triangle because I think that's my favorite shape. One thing that Picasso did, he didn't always make the faces symmetrical. In real life, if you look at your face in the mirror, on both sides of your nose, your eyes are at the same place. Your nose is in the middle and your lips kind of divide in the middle. They're the same on both sides. Your ears are the same. Your eyebrows are the same. It's like a mirror image, like a butterfly. Picasso didn't always do that. Sometimes the eyes would be in different heights. The nose would be over to the side. That's how we're going to make it more abstract. So I'm going to put an eye up high on my face, and I'm going to put one a little bit lower down here. And this kind of makes it interesting. It also makes it abstract. I want to put my nose somewhere, not quite in the middle like a realistic nose, but I'm going to put my nose over here, like that. Don't forget all of the details of the face. You don't just want eyes, nose, and mouth. Think about all the things that you see on different people's faces. You see, you could have a teeth or a tongue with your mouth. You could have a mustache. There's all kinds of things that different people have on their faces. I'm just drawing in different shapes for those different parts of the face. Don't forget the hair. You want to have some kind of a hair. I'm going to do some spiky hair. And on my example, I had enough clay to do a neck and some shoulders. So again, I'm just using basic shapes, triangles, ovals, trapezoids, things like that. If you have water-soluble markers or washable markers, these are the best things you can use to color your model magic. You can paint it after it's dry, but I find that the markers work the best. I've already opened one package of model magic and divided it into 3 sections. I have my tools here, my paper towel, and my markers. If you want to color your model magic before you get started sculpting, you need to take your chosen color of marker and a small chunk of your model magic. Model magic is not exactly like clay. It is a modeling compound that kind of has a foamy texture. You'll notice that it's really soft. It stretches very easily. If you want to color it, smash it down. You'll want to take your marker and color onto the model magic. To mix it, you want to fold it over, smush it, fold it back, maybe stretch it a little bit, and repeat this process until that color has worked into your clay. This will take a few times. You want to do this on a surface that's kind of slick, like a table or a plate. If you stick your model magic onto paper and leave it there, it will stick to the paper and you'll have paper stuck to your Model Magic. So you don't want to do that. You want to use a slick surface to work with your Model Magic. You can even take more than one color of marker and mix colors in your Model Magic. So I'm trying to make kind of more of a purple here with the pink and the blue mixed together. I'm going to open my second package of Model Magic and use the bigger piece of clay for the face shape. Once you've opened your Model Magic, you want to work with it pretty quickly. If you don't, it will dry out and have less elasticity, so you'll want to put it in a Ziploc bag. So I've opened my second package. Now I'm going to make my face shape out of this. So I think the first thing I'll do is roll it up into a ball, and then I'm going to flatten it onto my table. I can also pick it up and kind of stretch it and pull and pinch at the same time, making like a pancake, really flat shape. And if I look back at my sketch, I want to have a triangle face. So I'm going to use one of my tools to cut a triangle. I'm going to use my plastic knife. Looks like a pizza. If you don't like the shape, you can always ball it up and start over. If it's a little too small, you can stretch out your Model Magic as you work with it. I'm going to use my paper towel, or you can use tissue paper, scrap paper. I'm going to wad it up a little bit. This is optional. You can work flat, but I like to have a little bit of dimension whenever I am sculpting. I like to have the face rounded, because faces usually are a little bit round. Our faces aren't totally flat. So I'm going to use that to just kind of prop it up and make it round. So I'm going to start sculpting my facial features. To take a piece of clay and roll it in your hands. And that's how you can kind of create round shapes. Balls are kind of like football shape, like an eye. You can pinch your modeling compound to make it pointy. Flatten the clay and then use your knife to cut shapes. You want rectangles, triangles, things like that. And then one more technique that works really well is to take a little piece, squeeze it out, long and skinny like a snake, and then you can roll with your hands. This is called a coil. If your modeling clay sticks together, it will stick. So you want to be careful not to touch two pieces together that you don't want to stay together. First, I'm going to make the eyes. I don't want them to stick out too far, so I'm going to flatten the shape that I make. One of my eyes is up a little higher. You just want to press it in lightly. And this one's a little bit lower. So I wanted to have that asymmetrical look. Use a different color for my eyelid. I'm going to use that rolling a coil or snake technique. If you want your coil to be a little skinnier, you can stretch it. I'm going to start using my third color for my nose. can also roll the cone-like shape. If I take my hand and I just tilt it and just roll one side, I can get it skinny on one end and thick on the other. Just remember, this is your creation. You can customize your face however you want it to look. It can be pretty or ugly or scary or funny. Art can be whatever you want it to be. Sometimes it's nice to try on a facial feature to see how it looks. You don't want to stick it too long or it'll stick. You can kind of try it on and then you can adjust it, make it smaller or bigger before you put it on for good. I'm going to take all my little scraps and kind of round those up and push them back together so that I can continue to work with that little scrap clay. I'm going to make my ears next, so I'm going to flatten that out and do another cut with my knife. If you decide as you're working with the Model Magic that your sketch isn't quite what you want it to be, you can always change your idea in your sculpture. Just look back at your sketch and kind of check your ideas, but you can change them if you'd like to as you go. Another technique when you're sculpting that's good to do, it adds a lot of visual interest, is to overlap shapes. So now what I can do, I've got my basic facial features. I'm going to take some of the contrasting colors. I'm going to have this green and I'm going to add a little spiral there into my ear on top of the pink color. I'm going to add pupils into my eyes. And then I don't want to forget my hair. Kind of create these spikes for hair. Stick them on the top of the head. If for some reason some of your facial features fall off once your Model Magic is dry, Elmer's glue, regular white school glue, will glue back any pieces that fall off. But they should stick as long as you press them in gently but firmly. A little piece for the neck. I'm going to press that on from behind, overlapping the chin on top. And then I'm actually, since this is what I have left, I'm going to marble this. Taking two colored pieces of clay, pushing them together, twisting, folding, flattening. Kind of looks like cotton candy, but don't eat it. So I have my whole face sculpted and all my details. The last thing I'm going to do is add texture. Texture is something that you can feel when you run your finger over the sculpture. You can feel bumps or lumps or ridges, and that's what texture is. If you like the way your sculpture looks after you add texture, then you can be done. Another thing you can do if you want to add emphasis to certain areas is take your markers, and you can even do this while your Model Magic is still wet. You don't have to wait until it dries to do this. Take your washable markers and you can go over your texture in certain areas, and that marker will color in the tops of the texture and leave those ridges that you created. Kind of emphasizes your texture a little bit. So when you're finished with your creation, you can leave it to dry overnight. It will be pretty pliable. This one's been drying for 24 hours, and it's a little firm, but it still is a little spongy. After 2 or 3 days, it will be even more hard and more permanently fixed the way that you made it. You can take your paper towel out or your tissue paper from behind the sculpture, or you can leave it on there to dry overnight. I'm going to go ahead and leave mine on there until tomorrow. So here is my finished abstract portrait inspired by the artist Picasso that I have created texture, shapes, and asymmetrical balance. I really hope that you've had fun with this. I hope you have flexed your creative muscles. I cannot wait to see what you come up with that is completely unique for your abstract sculpture.